All right. For today's lab, we're going to do the lab from our PowerShell book, chapter 4. I've got PowerShell 7 running on the right-hand side of the screen, and I've got our lab here, 410 lab from chapter 4 in the Learn PowerShell in a Month's Worth of Lunches book. And we're just going to run through these. There's 8 items that we need to figure out, and I thought we would just run through them real quick and see what we come up with. So the first one is display a list of running processes. Right, so we're going to use get, and it looks like you can see process is already there from something I've done previously. I'm just going to use process. I'm not going to use the rest of it. That should show, that's going to show you all of the processes that are running. And I think if we think back to, we were trying to do something the other day. It was a process, and I've tried to drop the spooler, right? And I think the spooler is a service, not a process. I think there may be a different name here. Spool SV maybe is what we actually should have dropped in order to kill the process. But just as a kind of a thought after I did lab 3, and I'm like, that was a weird example. But that's so the first one is going to be get dash process. That's going to give us all a list of processes. Test the connection to Google or Bing without using the external command ping. So if we remember from the book used or talked about the test connection. Right, so then we can just do google.com, and we should get, right, it's like a trace route. All right, so from my desktop to this site, and then the latency. So 19 milliseconds, 20, 18, 18. Right, so 4 pings. Basically, this is not, I said trace route, it's not trace route. This is a ping type of a connection, right? But it's given us some details there. Right, so that's that would be number 2, right? Test connection instead of ping. I believe the book talks about the PowerShell commands being a little more robust than your typical command line shells commands. Okay, so number 3, display a list of all the commands that are a commandlet type. All right, this is tricky. We've shown you the get command. Right, you may need to read help to find out how to narrow down the list. Okay, so we're looking for get command, right? And we're looking for commandlets, and that's a type of commandlet. So maybe we can find some examples there. So I'm going to do, I found that if we were to do help, right, get command, right? So, oops, I'm going to tab. It's not letting me tab out that piece. How do I get to the end there? Just do a right arrow to get to the end of that previous command. So I found this to be the best way to figure this out. Help get command. So use help, but then use the dash online option, right? So what that's going to do, that's going to bring up the actual documentation from Microsoft on this get command, right? And you start looking, right, dash verb, dash noun, module. None of these look like they're going to help me. So maybe the second option, right? So remember that it does talk about in the book how, right, there's a couple different statuses of how this thing works, right? So you can do things a little differently. I don't see anything in any of this. Maybe command type, maybe. Right, so that would be possibly. So let's try that and see if that does it. So I'm going to go get command. I should just tab out these things. I'm not going to. Get command. Let's use command type. And the command type would be command. Let's see if that does it. All right, so that did do it. So that did it. Right, so using the help here, command type, get me, and you can see this on the left-hand side here. These are all the different commandlets available to me. And I think it's interesting. I'm looking over here on this. I'm trying to get back to the top here, the version, right? So like app history, that's a 7.3 command, whereas add certificate enrollment policy server has been around since the 1.0 version. So like I don't know, that's kind of to me interesting. But yeah, so I think that's the command that we want to run, right? And we're just using help to get to that, right? All of this is going to be, you got to get real comfortable, like looking at help, looking at examples. You could kind of scroll down, right, and read more about it. And then there's some examples: get commandlet, function alias, get commands in the current session. Oh look, get commandlets and display them in order. So we could have used, instead of command type, it looks like we could have used the dash type. And got commandlets, and then all of this we could have left off because that's going to sort it and put it in a table and other things. We're just looking at, looking at the list. So yeah, so there's a couple different ways there. I think so. Let's try that. I think if we go, let me click over here. If I go here and I just do, if I do type, will I get the same answer? Yeah. So either one, command type or type, both of those are going to work. Awesome. Going back to our lab, that was number 3. How to use get command to find commandlet types, only the commandlet types. Display a list of all aliases, right? So that's going to be another get command. So get alias. So that's going to show us all the aliases. We did that in the help session in the last lab. Okay. And then it says make a new alias so that you can run NTST to run netstat from PowerShell prompt. All right. So that would be, that's going to be new, right? So new alias, and then let's do this. Let's do help and dash online. Take a look real fast. We can get rid of that one. So new alias, name. So I think name is going to be NTST, and then value is going to be netstat. I think that's how it goes, right? So it should be, back over here, it should be new alias, and it should be name, right? Am I remembering that correctly? Name, yeah, name. Space, and then what do we want to make this? I gotta go look at the NTST, and then the value, right? I think that was the other one. Value is going to be netstat. So then I should be able to run NTST, and I should get netstat. Yeah, so we got it. Awesome. Hit Control C to drop out of that. So, right, using the help online, we figured out, like, if we want to, create a new alias, we name it whatever we want to name it, and then we tell it what the value is. Okay. Awesome. That was number 5. Make a new alias. Number 6, display a list of processes that begin with the letter P. All right, you may need to read help. All right, so we're trying to display a list, so that's going to be a get again. So help get process. I'm going to assume dash online. Again, you can look at it in the screen. It's not a problem. I prefer this way, so it doesn't matter. Get processes dash name in the string, right? So you can see that right here. Every single one of these has, well, these first 2 have that. So let's so we're going to be doing, get process. It's got all kinds of old stuff. Get process dash name, and we're just going to do P, right? Starting with P. P and the asterisk afterwards should give us all the P's. So we got phone, experience host, and PowerShell. Right, so that gave us what we need. Get dash process dash name. P asterisk will give us the everything that starts with P. All right, so the next one is make a new folder. Right, so we're making a directory. Use the new item commandlet with the name of my folder 1, then do it again and call it my folder 2. Use help if you're not familiar with a new item. Right, so let's do that. So first of all, we'll start with help. New item, and again, right, online. So new item, we have path and item type and value. I think path and value are the two we need, right? So we need a path and we need a value. Let's see if they got it. Create a file in the current directory. So, right, path is local path or the current path, and the name is this file. So that's a file. Create a directory. Path is this. Name is log files. Item type directory. So I think that one's going to work for us. It won't let me copy it. That's awesome. So new item, path, and I'm going to put this on my C drive. Okay. Oh, I need to put that in quotes. It looks like quotes. I think because we have the backslash and the colon in there, those are things that cause issues if they're not in quotes. So dash name, and it wants this to be my folder 1, I believe was the name. And we need to do an item type. And in this case, it's going to be a directory. So that should do it, I hope. So it looks like it did. If I were to go, let's just open up, move that off over here for a second. I'm going to go to my C drive. Here's my C drive, and we should have a my folder 1 right there. Created a my folder 1. You see there's not a my folder 2 there. So then they wanted us to do this twice. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to change the name to my folder 2. And it looks like we have a my folder 2. I'm going to bring this over, and we can see my folder 2 is now down here on the bottom. If I refresh that, it'll push it where it needs to be. Okay, so we created my folder 1 and my folder 2 using PowerShell. All right, love it. What's left? That was number 7. Remove the folders from step 7 in a single command. Really? All right. So then they give us how to do that, right? Asterisk at the end, right? So I'm going to assume, let's see if there is. So let's do help, right? So if there's a new item, right, and this asking us to remove, let's see if there's a remove item. Help remove, -9. And yes, there is, right? So remove item is going to be our command, the path, the filter. I just think we remove item path, right? That's all we really need to do. Let's try remove item, and the path is going to be quote C colon backslash my folder, and we want to get rid of all of them. So instead of doing individuals, we'll do an asterisk there, and then we'll close the parenthesis, right? So C colon my folder, and it goes back to a prompt. And if I bring over my, you can see this is my C drive again. Refresh it. There is no my folders any longer. Awesome. Okay. And I think we've made it to the end of that lab. So it's pretty quick. All right, so those are the 8 things that we need to do. Right, list of running processes. That's going to be the get process command. Connection, test the connection is going to be test-connection, and then you put in the your wherever you were trying to get, IP address or URL. Get a list, so we use the get command, right, and we use type on that one to find all the commandlets. Display a list of aliases, so it's just going to be get alias. Make a new alias, so new alias, and then we did a dash name and a dash value. And then number 6, display the list of processes. That's going to be get process, right? And we want to just everything with the letter P, so we're going to do dash name with a P asterisk as the value. Make a new folder, right? So this one's going to be the new item. So new item, we did dash name for my folder 1 and my folder 2, and we did dash path to put the, in this case I put the folders on my C drive, so C:\/ as the value in quotations. We also did a dash directory, or dash type directory, so that we knew that it was a directory. That's this item right here. And then the last thing is we used remove item to remove the folders, and we used an asterisk wildcard to get rid of all the folders that started with the name my folder. Awesome. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, keep on trucking, and we'll see you on the next one.